Hi y'all, I'm back with another video. So, my name is Siobhan Monique. I'm healing out loud and breaking generational curses one story at a time. Now, today, we're going to talk about a letter that I wrote my dad at kind of like the very start of this healing out loud journey. So, before I ever shared my story publicly, before I talked about healing out loud, I wrote a letter to my dad. I didn't write it to necessarily get a response. I wrote it because I couldn't keep carrying everything by myself anymore. I decided to write the letter to really get everything out. I want to share a few lines from the letter. I'm not really going to read the full entire letter. I am there are some snippets on my other social media, but the full letter will be in my book that's coming out April 1st, 2026. Get you a copy if you watch this video and want to read the full letter that I wrote him. But I am going to share a few lines from the letter, not complete details or anything like that. So, for the first part, I put, for years, I wanted to say these things but didn't have the words or the courage. As a child, my understanding of men and love was shaped early. And while you were present physically and financially, emotionally, there were gaps that deeply affected me. When I wrote that, I wasn't necessarily trying to accuse my dad of anything. I basically was just trying to name something that I've been feeling for a while that I couldn't quite explain. I do understand a father is his daughter's first representation of what a man is supposed to be like. So I do take some trouble with the things that my father displayed to me that I internalize as it being okay, or this is how men are supposed to behave. And then in turn, when I get older, I go and find men that behave in this way. And these are not the good attributes of him. These are the things that were not so good. So I digress. I'm not going to get too far into it. But I did feel when I wrote that letter, it was necessary for me to say that. I feel like he may have needed to hear that he wasn't the best representation of what a man is supposed to be, how a man is supposed to treat a woman, or whatever the case may be. I think he needed to hear that. Moving along. Another part. In the letter I put, I wrote this letter because I needed to say everything I've been holding on to without being interrupted, dismissed, or shut down. So that line matters to me because it was the first time I let myself speak without bracing for someone to hang up, argue, or minimize what I was feeling. Now, I've had conversations with my dad about certain things, or tried to, and he would either flip it around on me, some type of gaslighting, manipulation, or he has hung up on me a few times. Unfortunately, he is not someone who likes to be called out so much or feel like they're in the wrong, so they have to do something to flip it around a little bit. So I definitely did make a note of that when writing the letter, like to let him know, like, this is probably the only way that I was able to communicate anything and actually get it fully out. When I first decided to write the letter, I knew that the letter was going to be the best bet. because I, anytime, like I said, I tried to have a conversation with him, whether it be in person or the phone, it did not go well. I was not able to ever really fully get everything out. And writing does help me a lot. I am better with um articulating my thoughts if I'm able to write it down and really like reread and like go back in because I may have missed something. It's harder for you to do that in real time while you're sitting in front of somebody. You may forget some things. So writing that letter definitely was the best bet for me. Um, so another section of the letter I wanted to address, I put in here, one of the hardest parts for me wasn't just what happened. It was realizing that when I needed protection, I didn't have it. What hurt most was feeling unseen, unsupported, and not believed by the people who were supposed to keep me safe. For a long time, I thought that my anger came from the events themselves. But honestly, while writing the letter, I realized, or the letter helped me to understand that a lot of my pain came from the absence of protection, not just the harm itself or the things that happened to me itself, especially my anger towards my father was majority because of the absence of protection. He did not protect me from the things that happened. Though I do believe that some things he may not necessarily been able to protect me from prior to them happening, but afterwards there was no type of protection, no type of uh, wanting to rectify and caring or making sure that I was good after things happened to me. So that was my biggest gripe with him coming into writing this letter. Uh, for the next part, I say, for most of my life, I learned to survive by pushing everything down and moving on because I didn't feel safe being honest about what I was carrying. So the survival pattern followed me for years. I didn't know I was surviving. I just thought something was wrong with me. Um, there's a lot of things that happened to me that I did not tell my father. Now, this is where this line comes from. It's a lot of things that I actually detailed in the letter that I'm not going to go into detail with right now that I did not tell him. So in the letter, I detailed the things that happened that he didn't know about. And then I explained to him why I never felt comfortable. I mean, especially when the one thing that I did talk about, I was not believed. So all of those experiences taught me to just push stuff down. I was used to pushing stuff down, not talking about it. And it almost was as if the stuff never happened. It was honestly crazy how good I was at pushing things down. It's like my conscious mind had no recollection of certain things until I started to dig deep and travel back in time. I started to remember so many different things. And it's crazy when you really think about it. Moving along though, also in my letter, I wrote this letter in the notes app in my iPhone. So I submitted 2 screenshots, and basically it is explains child sexual abuse consequences. So it explains health and behavioral problems that come with it, drug and alcohol problems, teenage pregnancies, promiscuity, crime, things like that. Outlines all of those things. I inserted that into the letter just to give him some actual factual evidence of what could happen to a child when they experience certain things. Now, I'm gonna make another video going into real detail with this, but I just wanted to definitely mention that in the letter, I kind of wanted to explain with some factual evidence of the things that I did, the behaviors that I displayed after going through a lot of trauma and things like that. Towards the ending of this letter, I wrote, writing this was a part of my healing, and I've come to understand that nobody has to be okay with it except me. So it's like when I wrote the letter, there were so many different, how do I say this? There were so many different levels, or like as I'm writing this letter, I'm coming to realizations. It's pretty long. Towards the end, it was just like, I said my piece. I said everything that I needed to say. And now I'm at the end. I understand that you may not be okay with the things that I'm saying. I understand that maybe some of these things will hurt your feelings, and you may not know how to navigate those feelings. So they may come out in other ways. I understand. Because at the end of the letter, I did also let him know that I was writing a book. So detailing my life. So these things will be coming out in a broader spectrum than me just writing you this letter. So I understand if you feel some type of way. I get it. But this is what I needed to do for me. I had to do this for me. And I understand how you feel, but it can't dictate how I do things. So that's really how I ended it off. I never received a response from my dad. He's never mentioned anything. Well, I have not really spoken to him since then either. But he has not responded. He has not said anything about this letter. And again, I'm perfectly fine with it. You just have to be okay with the apology that you're never going to get in order to move on. I cannot stay stuck in this certain time period where all these things happen to me. I can't stay stuck being angry at the people who are supposed to protect me that didn't protect me. I can't stay stuck. So in order for me to move on, I have to be okay with the apology that I will never probably get. And me staying stuck in the trauma and the abuse and all of that is not an option. So the only option is to move forward. And again, the only way to do that is be okay with the apology I never got, or I'm never gonna get. I just want to let whoever out there, if you are holding things inside because you're afraid of how to receive it, I just want you to know that release doesn't require a response. Sometimes just saying it is enough. I referenced that in my other video. Like, just speaking about certain things can be so healing to you. Well, that's all I got for today. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time.